Hello friends, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to explain to you how the US president is elected. As you know, this is a very important topic because there are elections happening in the US where they are going to elect a new president and Joe Biden's time is going to be completed, right? So for that purpose, you have to understand this because questions are asked in competitive exams regarding this, right? Before going ahead, let me tell you one thing. In India, also, we have presidential elections. But there is a difference between how US president is elected and how Indian president is elected. And this difference is because in US, we have presidential form of government. And one of the most important features of presidential form of government is that president is actually the real head of the government. That is de facto head of the government as well as state. But in India, president is the head of the state, but he is not the real head of the government, right? He is only the de jure head of the government. And who is the real head of the government? Prime Minister. Prime Minister is de facto head of the government. So that is why there is a difference in how US president is elected, how Indian president is elected. If you want to understand how Indian president is elected, then I have made a video on that, which is a detailed video. Please go and watch that. The link to that video is in the description below. So let us understand how American voters elect their president. Basically, though they call it a direct election, but it is not so direct. I'll tell you why. Because in direct election, what happens is that voters go out and directly vote to elect their president, and whoever gets majority votes must be declared winner, right? But it doesn't happen like that. In reality, what happens is voters go out and rather than directly electing the president, they first elect a small group of people, and that is called as electoral college. Okay, so there are around 240 million eligible voters in US, right? So these 240 million eligible voters, out of these, some people who vote actually, which is around 60 to 70%, they go and elect a small group of people from each state. There are 50 states in US, right? How many states? 50 states. For example, you have California, Texas, New Jersey, Florida, etc., etc. So what they have done is they have divided these 50 states and they have given each state a group of electors. Understand this? Okay. For example, California, which is a state in the US, it has been given 54 electors. Okay. Texas is a state which is also a big state in US. It has been given 40 electors. New Jersey, which is a small state, has been given 14 electors. So 54 plus 4, 40 plus 14 plus similarly, all 50 states have been given electors. So these electors together constitute 538. So how many electors are there in electoral college? 538, which is a small group. So these voters, they elect electors from their respective state, and these are the states, for example, and these are the electors. For example, California voters, they don't go and vote to elect their president, that is Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. What they do is California voters go and elect their electors, which is 54, for example. Now, one question that arises is how and why California has been given 54 electors, Texas has been given 40 electors, and New Jersey 14. Like Indian Parliament, in US, we have US Congress, right? So this US Congress has two houses. One is House of Representatives and second is Senate. Like in India, we have Lok Sabha, which is similar to House of Representatives, and Rajya Sabha, which is similar to Senate. So each state, okay, each state sends its representatives to both the houses. Like in India, each state sends representatives to Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. Similarly, in US, each state sends its representatives to House of Representatives and Senate. So the number of electors who will elect the president finally is same as that state sends to the US Congress. Okay, for example, California. California sends 54 members to US Congress, 2 in the Senate, 52 in the House of Representatives. Similarly, Texas sends 40 members to US Congress. Okay, 38 to House of Representatives and 2 to Senate, because every state sends 2 members to Senate. Unlike in India, in which Rajya Sabha members are different from different states, in US each state sends 2 representatives. That is, there is equality amongst the states. Okay, leave that aside. So the number each state sends to US Congress, same number of electors are assigned to each state. For example, California 54, Texas 40, and New Jersey 14. So basically what I'm trying to say is, American voters, for example, each state's voters will go and vote to elect an electoral college from that state. And if we combine the electoral college of each state, or electors from each state, the total electors in the electoral college is 538. It's like members from Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha, right? So total electors in electoral college, how many are they? 538. So rather than directly electing the president, American voters are electing the electoral college, right? Now the question is, how these electors from each state, total 538, how these 54 electors from California are chosen, how these 40 electors from Texas are chosen. Remember, though I told you that number of people that California sends to US Congress will be the same number that will be assigned to California for its electors, but they are not the same people. For example, California is sending 52 people to House of Representatives and 2 to Senate. These are not the people who are electors. These are different, but the number is same. That's it. Now, how these 54 people or 40 or 14 are chosen? They are not elected. What happens is that they are basically these members of electoral college, that is 54, 40 from each state, are nominated by parties. How many parties are there in like big parties are there in US? There are many small parties also, but they don't usually win elections. There are two big parties, Democratic Party and Republican Party, right? And what happens is that, for example, let's take the example of California. So how many electors California has? 54. So what happens is, Democratic Party will nominate, not elect, nominate 54 of its representatives for California. Similarly, Republican Party will nominate 54 people to its electorate in California. So both Democratic Party will have 54 electors and Republican Party will have 54 electors. Okay. Now, how this process works? Let's take the example of California forward and understand. Let's say on the election day, voters go to the poll booth, okay, and they either vote to Democratic Party nominee, who is that is Donald Trump, or Democratic Party nominee, that is Kamala Harris, or Republican Party nominee, that is Donald Trump. Okay. Let's say California has around, this is just an example. California has around 1 million voters. Okay. And if among these 1 million voters, if 60% of the voters voted for Democratic Party nominee and 40% of the voters voted for Republican Party nominee. Okay. So which party has majority? Democratic Party has secured majority of votes in California, right? Now what happens because of this majority that Democratic Party has secured in California? Democratic Party has had nominated 54 electors to California, right? So because Democratic Party secured majority in California, it will secure the votes of all the 54 electors. It's not like out of 54, 60% of the electors vote goes to Democratic Party and 40% of the electors vote goes to Republican Party because of their respective vote share. No, any party which secures majority will get all the votes of the electors from that state. You getting it? So this is called as winner takes all. Okay, because Democratic Party received 60% of vote in California, it will get all 54 electors because Democratic Party got majority of the votes. ठीक है. Similar procedure is followed for all states. Okay. Similarly, people in Texas will go out and vote. Let's say in Texas, 52% of the voters voted for Republican Party, and remaining 48% voted for Democratic Party. Now, who will take all these 40 electors? Republican Party, because Republican Party has secured 52% of the vote share. Got it? So these 54 votes went for Democratic Party, these 40 votes went for Republican Party because they secured majorities in these states. Understood? So this is winner takes all method. Okay. Now this process is done in every state. Okay. Every state votes, and every state elects its electors. So let's say, for example, Democratic Party got electoral votes of California, which is 54. Texas, example, okay, 40. And Republican Party won in New Jersey. If it won in New Jersey, then New Jersey has 14 electors. Florida, for example, if it won, then Florida has 30 electors. So they will calculate the total number of electors, or total number of votes in electoral college that each party has secured, and they will add that, right? And now, in the beginning, I told you how many electors are there in electoral college. 538 electors are there. Okay, so each state has certain electors, and total electors are 538. Now, Democratic Party nominee like Kamala Harris or Republican Party nominee Donald Trump, if either of them wants to win, then any one of them must secure 51% plus one vote of the electors. So when they do this calculation, anybody, what is the 51% plus 1 of 538? 270 votes. Okay. So any candidate who secures 270 votes of electors from the electoral college will be declared as winner. Got it? So basically, this is the process. Okay. So voters vote in each state to elect their respective electors in electoral college. And once the voters have elected the electoral college, this electoral college will elect the president. Okay. Basically, there are two votes which happen. First, the general voters vote and elect the members of the electoral college. This is the first vote. But then these members of the electoral college, they vote again, and that happens in the month of December. Okay. This general election happens in the month of November, and these electoral college members who have been elected by the voters vote in the month of December to elect the president. And any person who secures 270 votes of these electors will be declared as president. Okay, so this is basically the gist of the method that is used in US to elect the president. Now you might have certain questions, I know, and I want to address those questions now. Now, who are these electors? As I already told you, these electors are actually nominated. And who nominates them? Parties. So, Democratic Party will nominate its electors to each state, and Republican Party will nominate its electors to each state. For example, as I told you, California has 54. So Democratic nominees are 54, Republican Party nominees are 54. And if Democratic Party wins majority of votes in California, then these 54 votes go to Democratic Party. Okay, go to means in December, these 54 electors who were nominated by the Democratic Party obviously will vote for Democratic Party nominee, that is Kamala Harris, right? Now you might ask, what if, okay, though Democratic Party won the majority vote in California, and because of that it won 54 electors in California. What if these electors who have been nominated by the Democratic Party become unfaithful and do not vote for Kamala Harris, but rather vote for Donald Trump? Okay, and such electors could be called as unfaithful electors, right? What if these electors become unfaithful and do not vote to their respective party? Okay, basically, many states in US have regulations and laws and constitutional provisions that prevent electors from voting to other party than the party that nominated them. ठीक है? First thing is that. Second, these electors cannot become unfaithful because these electors who have been nominated by the parties are actually their loyalists and party workers. So they do not become unfaithful. They will vote to the party that nominated them. ठीक है? So that is another question that you can ask. That is, are these electors faithful? And third and last question that you might have is, why have this complicated system at all, right? Why not directly elect the president? Yeah, that is a logical question, and I think US should adopt a simpler procedure, right? But to understand why US has this kind of system, we have to go back into the history of US and to the times when slavery was there, and there was a division between northern states and southern states. And that time, in order to maintain balance between northern and southern states, this complicated system was, orchestrated, and it is still in use even though the slavery has been abolished and the context has changed. But anyway, so this is the summary of the procedure that is used in US to elect the president. I'm sure I have covered all the points, but if I have missed any points or if there is any factual error in the explanation, then do feel free to comment in the comment section below, and I will rectify those errors. But I have done the research, and I think this is the way they elect the president. Okay, so thanks for watching. And if you want to understand how Indian president is elected, then please go and watch that video and study well. Take care. Until next time.